Welcome to Coffee Break with K.A. and Dana. We're brought to you by the Lesbian Talk Show. I'm K.A., a lesbian romance author, and in my past life, a counselor and a social worker.
And I'm Dana, an avid reader, coffee connoisseur, recovering alcoholic, and a graduate of the School of Hard Knocks.
Grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and join us for a meaningful conversation from a lesbian perspective. Inquiring minds want to know what in the world we're going to talk about on this episode. Although we usually plan our episodes together, for this one, Dana insisted on doing it on her own. And not only that, she's been quite secretive about it. Okay, so if she wasn't one of those people, you know, the kind that you don't run across too often, the kind you could trust with your life, I'd be shaking in my boots right now. You look like you're in a pretty good mood. Why is that?
Well, today is our wedding anniversary, our actual legal wedding. Of course, we couldn't remember what year it was, and I had to go back into Facebook and look it up to see what year it was. And we've been officially married 3 years now.
Oh, congratulations. And you know, each time we talk, and we knew each other before this podcast, but I find something else that we have in common. So, you've been together forever and have a third wedding anniversary and you went out to eat?
We went out and got a sweet tea and a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, that's what you do when you're celebrating many more than a third, but it just happens to be legally a third. So anyway, the thing that we have in common, this is today's thing. Like Kay and I, we have the marriage thing. And before that, we had the civil union thing. And before that, almost 33 years ago, we had the real thing, the one that we celebrate that nobody stamped their approval on. And each time, you know, both our civil union and our wedding, our actual licensed wedding, occurred in July. And each July, we have this conversation about what days they are. And we go back and forth. And one time, in fact, we were out to eat, and we're sitting there eating, a fancy dinner. Fancy dinner. And look across, are we sure this is the day? And so we went home and we got it out of our lockbox. So each July, we open our lockbox and we dig out the civil union and we dig out the license to see when we were married, which means there's a moral to that story. And I'll bet you have let me ask you, do you celebrate, which day do you really celebrate? The one that the state stamped, or do you have another one that's the real one?
Well, I get in trouble, so we celebrate all three, so I'm covered. We have an April 21st date we celebrate, we have a January 1st date we celebrate, and then we have our actual wedding anniversary where we were legally married. So in order to keep out of trouble, I celebrate all three.
Oh, see, there's another thing we have in common. We have three things. Well, I don't get in trouble. You only get in trouble if she remembers and you forgot. When you both can't remember the second two because they were like the stamp of the state, then you're all good. Then you just laugh about it and you go on.
I like to celebrate our January 1st of 2005 because that's when we made a commitment in front of God about our love and our family. So that's the one I like to celebrate.
And that's really what it's about, though, isn't it? I mean, that's what it's about.
Right.
So congratulations. And
thank you.
And I have taken you away from her on this special day. I've taken you away.
For a nap.
And I've plopped you down in front of a microphone, sitting at a desk. We should tell them that you're now at a desk with a microphone in front of you and headphones on. So they should have awesome sound quality.
Well, it's taken us a bit, but you finally got me whipped into shape. Made me clean my office out.
See, it's very difficult to whip you from, with the distance between Illinois and Idaho, but
yet you did that.
You're getting there, and I'm happy about that. I think I'm going to be happy about that when I edit too, but we'll see. Because you've got these sounds like no one should have show up on your audios, and I'm hoping they're gone today.
Somebody's got to keep you on your toes.
Okay, so back to the episode. I recorded the intro because I haven't got a clue what you're doing, and you can just tell right now how worried I am, can't you?
Yeah, I can tell. You know me well enough to know that I'm not going to lead you down a path you don't want to be on.
And you know I'm editing.
I know, exactly. Exactly.
So there we go. Take it away, because it's your episode. Although I think we've been entertaining for this, these past few minutes. I think we've entertained them.
Well, not as much as we're going to.
I love that. All right, so this might be the first moment that I had a twinge of worry. Take it away, pal.
All righty. So, every book ever written in the English language has used the same 26 letters. Yet each book has a soul of its very own. And I know you don't have a favorite book, because we've had this conversation before, but I want you to tell me something special about soulmates.
Soulmates? Oh, that's easy. That's easy. And you probably know my books better than I do. Well, yeah, you might know them better than I do. I don't know. Soulmates, that's easy. It's in the author acknowledgement or the dedication or somewhere. I put it in the front of the book. I wrote Soulmates for my wife. It was that first attempt when I thought maybe I could write lesfic, but not to the point anyone would publish me. Thank you, Triplicity Publishing. Thank you very much. But anyway, so I'm just writing it for fun, and each chapter she's getting a kick out of it and laughing and reading, and I know it wasn't that good. I've read it. I read it before it got through editing, and yeah, it wasn't that good. But anyway, it really entertained her. And it was written totally for her, although it's not our story. In no way is anything about soulmates our story. But for some reason, it came to me, and there it was, and it was hers, and it will always be Kay's.
Okay. Something about change of heart.
Oh, you're going to make me do that for every one of them?
Yep.
Well, you took no time to prepare. You just listed my books, and I'm writing number 9.
No, trust me, I've prepared.
Okay.
So change of heart.
Change of heart.
Just something quick that surprised you or that was special.
I talked too much on that one. Mm-hmm. Something quick. Does it have to be something special or just what comes to mind?
Just whatever comes to mind.
Okay, so I do research for every one of my books, and I have a couple pals down the road a bit that have this homestead and these beehives, and they do all this homesteading stuff. So I do research, and I know that change of heart. It has a few bees in it, and anyway, I tried. So I went there to do my research for that story. And I'm out taking the walk. This is taking longer than you'd like. Yeah. I like that because, see, I'm chewing up the clock. So.
Okay, we can establish it has bees and booze.
I'll speak more quickly. So we're out taking a walk out by the hives, taking a look. Oh, cool. I don't really like bees, but oh, cool. And I walk past this one, maybe a little too close, and this little battle axe buzzes out of there and in my ear. I mean, in my ear. I mean, all the way in my ear. And of course, my friend is thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to have to take her to the ER. Well, I'm not worried about getting the damn thing out. I'm worried about it stinging the crap out of me. You can't imagine the head movements I made. Finally got the little creature out. didn't sting me in the ear, which is just amazing, crawled out, and then it zipped back like a little boomerang and stung my eye. And not on the eyeball, but like above my eye. And I looked like Kay beat me, like for days. There you go. There's your story about change of heart. That's not what you were expecting, was it?
No.
Oh, and I like Jack and Courtney in the novel, too.
Bees and Booze. I like that.
Okay.
Coming to Terms.
You have just listed my books one at a time. Coming to Terms. Oh, now Coming to Terms is kind of special in its own little way. It was the book that Triplicity wanted to publish first, because Soulmates and Coming to Terms were finished at about the same time. But they wanted to put that one out first. It came out editing first, and they thought it'd be fine. So although I wrote it second, it is my debut novel. But what makes it special is, although it doesn't capture any stories from my professional life, working in child protection as a social worker, I really tried to capture the essence of some of the people I worked with, and over the years, the police officers and the social workers. And anyway, so that one is kind of my here's to you first career book.
And that was the first one of your books that I read, and it was the one that hooked me in.
Wow.
So, and now my favorite.
I thought you read Haunting Love first. You didn't, huh?
I didn't, no. So what was special about Haunting Love?
What is it next on the list?
Yeah.
Okay.
But here's my thing. Haunting Love is the only one of your books that I haven't read or listened to at least probably 4 or 5 times. Oh,
and Haunting Love is my wife's favorite. Well, see, now you're making me tell some of the stories I tell in my author's note in the front, but Haunting Love, all of my books go on the storyboard for a while, and I stew about them, and I stew about them, and I stew some more, and now you know me well enough to know that's exactly true.
True.
So my wife and I were in the drive-thru at McDonald's and waiting for an Egg McMuffin or whatever we were waiting for. And I said, so what'd you think of my gay banana concept? Because the characters in there are Gabe and Anna. And she looked at me like I'd gone stark raving mad. And I asked her again. And she still looked at me like I was speaking alien or something. Well, anyway.
That's a funny story.
She finally just said, what is a gay banana? That's my wife. You just gotta love her.
Yep.
Oh, but the other thing about Haunting Love, it is her favorite book of all of my books. And although it's not my favorite book, Anna is one of my favorite femme characters. So there you go.
There you go. So one more. Let's talk about For a Moment's Indiscretion.
So you're not going to go through all of them like you have chosen ones? Because some of them are feeling kind of hurt right now.
Well, I have them all written down, but your answers are taking longer than what I had planned, so I'm having to cut them down.
See, that is my strategy here.
I know.
That's my strategy.
I'll get you, don't worry.
It's working pretty well, too. I like that. What book was that we were talking about? For a Moment's Indiscretion.
Yes.
Well, that was just that. I had a glorious time writing that book. I loved writing Amelia, my little villain, but I just loved writing her. But I wrote that book because I thought the story needed to be told. I needed to cough up another book with Zane and Jaina, a sequel, although it's more of a crossover, and I did it telling the story of a marriage on the rocks, that instead of throwing it away, you do what you need to do to save it. And I just think so often we throw things away without the work, the counseling or whatever to find our way back. And that story is about finding your way back. It's about it's about finding your way back to your wife, and in a way to God and your faith and the whole thing, finding your way back.
Putting the work in.
Putting the work in, yes.
Yep. So, and in going off of that, the lesbian authors that I've talked to, when I ask them why they write this, they say it's because that's what they know. The lesbian part is what they know. But in your books, you often take a stretch where you have to do some research into something that you don't know. So by that
Always.
token, yeah, could you write straight fiction?
No.
Not would you, but could you?
No. Although I can write straight characters.
Okay.
You know, we all have the story that, I don't know, we write to tell a story. We all have stories that for some reason we need or want to tell, and those stories are in our head. And my stories are all lesbian stories, but I write them in the real world. So in my books, you'll find straight characters because that's the real world. We don't just live in a world of lesbians. But I don't have their stories to tell. I suppose if I had one of their stories to tell, I could try to tell it. But I don't. I have lesbians' stories to tell. You know, women who experience trauma and find a way through and come out the other side. I don't know. Okay. All right. Healed.
You know, and in listening to your answer that you just had right there, I remember when you think you had like 3 books in your head, and one of them is one that you haven't kind of flushed out yet, and then I think you had Whispers of the Heart, and then you had your Kate Brogan book, and you had all of these characters having these wars in your head, and it was rather interesting to listen to you at that point, because you didn't know what way you were going to go.
No, and writing is like acceptable schizophrenia. You know that, right? I mean, it's perfectly acceptable. We hear voices, we talk to them, and everybody thinks we're pretty sane. Well, at least that's what I think.
No, we don't think you guys are sane, but...
Okay. Well, now I feel so much...
But we pay for your insanity, so that's okay.
I see. I feel so much better.
What's your favorite fiction non-lesbian book?
Fiction non-lesbian book. A Clockwork Orange.
Okay. And what's your favorite
that was
lesbian?
Easy. See, that took no words almost.
Right. What about your favorite lesbian fiction book?
Passion's Bright Fury by Radcliffe.
Okay. Why?
Why? Because I love her protagonist. No, I don't love her protagonist as in, oh my God, I love her protagonist. But her butch protagonist in that book is just an onion that she peeled as she wrote it. And I just love the way she wrote protagonist.
Okay. So now we're going to do some word associations, and I just want one word. I don't need a paragraph because we're we're running into time issues here already.
We are way in time issues. I'm going to get to cut quite a bit of this out. Just know it.
Yes, you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, ready? Books.
Lesbian.
Butch.
Femme.
Femme.
Butch.
Zane.
Jaina.
Sawyer.
Sage.
Gabe.
Anna.
Jack.
Do you get a theme here?
Yes, Jack. I was kind
there
of
is a
hoping
moral
for something
to that
different,
story, so I get to use more words now. You say one, I say the other. For me, it's about the couples. Go ahead.
Joanna.
Complex. Oh, I have to stop. Oh, I had so many words to go with that.
Favorite butch?
Of butches that I've written. Carson.
Take it where you want it.
Carson.
Why?
Followed by Gabe. Followed by Sawyer.
See, and now that surprises me that Zane wasn't in there.
Because Zane is, Zane's complex too. Zane comes from kind of a different place.
Okay, so going with that, how would you explain to a reader Zane's faith?
Faith. See, Zane's faith. Imperfect at times. Growing.
Perfectly imperfect?
Perfectly imperfect. Perfectly imperfect. As is her relationship, as is everything. Human. So it's been a fun discussion, my friend, and you are, I'll just lay this out there. You are very, very predictable.
I've been called worse.
Until next time.
Have a good one.
So we've come to the end of an episode, and it's time to do what we'll do at the end of each episode. Recommend a book and a movie.
Books and movie, I'm going to continue on my shameless plug and recommend that you pick up K.A. Mall's Soulmates, and K.A.'s recommendations were the book and movie Clockwork Orange.
Also, at the end of each episode, we'll answer a question from one of our listeners. If you'd like to send us a question, you'll find a link to our email address on the website.
So inquiring minds want to know the questions. The first one is my favorite ice cream. I would have to say it would either be maple pecan or anything with caramel. And boxers or briefs, hate to say it, but it's boxers.
So, my answer to the questions this week. My favorite ice cream? Peanut butter swirl. Oh my God. And boxers or briefs? I am not ashamed to say boxers.
In August, we'll be starting our own little book club. We will announce the book that we're going to be reading a month before the episode is to be discussed. Our book for our August 27th episode will be the New York Times self-help bestseller, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, A Counterintuitive Approach to a Good Life by Mark Manson. Read along if you want. Send us your questions, send us your thoughts, and we'll try and incorporate them into our episode.
You've been listening to Coffee Break with Kay and Dana, meaningful conversations from a lesbian perspective, brought to you by the Lesbian Talk Show. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and visit our website, www.coffeebreakwithkanddana.com. Until next week, work hard, be kind to one another, and watch amazing things happen in your corner of the world.